Welcome back to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome back to our watch club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2. Citterin Scaleback. Ha! It's been a long time since I've seen your shiny claws around Safatoma. Welcome back to Watch Club. My name is CTO831, but you can call me Hugs, and this is our Watch Club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 4, titled Faster. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Watch Club, our weekly review series, kind of like a book club, but way better. Keep in mind, we will be going into full spoilers for this series and Star Wars in general, so if you haven't watched this week's episode yet, be sure to do so, and then come right back in less than 12 parsecs. Now, before we're forced to take part in a race more dangerous than the Boonta Eve Classic, let me introduce you to our experimental crew of ragtag troopers. First up, dropping in from the sky way up high, we have the dopest, dankest dude on Dagobah, CT1006, but you can call him Joints.
Hello. Oh, wait, no, I said ahoy hoy.
Oh,
dang it.
Ahoy hoy!
No,
I was waiting for the ahoy hoy this week.
It's been too long.
Yeah, you cannot forget your ahoy hoys. Will disappoint all the aboy boys. And rounding out our small battalion, we are so glad to have a true friend and war hero joining us, and her name is CTO 118, but you can call her Brushstroke. Yeah, how's it going?
Always so excited to be here.
So excited.
I'm going to start every single week with a New Zealand accent.
New Zealand
I can
accent,
feel
yeah.
it.
Apologies to all of our New Zealand listeners. I'm sure there's a ton of you out there who are just very upset.
It's not good. I'm just doing it.
You can't not when you have such a lovable character with a New Zealand accent. And Michelle Ong, shout out to Michelle Ong, just does phenomenal. And it's funny because I've seen her in interviews and it's just her voice. Like, that's just her. Yeah. She's just Omega. It's amazing, for the most part.
It was funny seeing that live stage reading at Celebration between her and Dee Bradley, because
it was so good.
She was just standing there talking, and then there's the guy next to her doing all four voices at once, and it was just so incredible.
Fantastic. I mean, I think the only difference would be, like, there's a certain innocence to Omega that I think she still definitely brings out, and yeah, does a phenomenal job. But oh my gosh, just every word she says, I'm just like, say it again. Well, here we are again. I think, Darcy, last week you kind of mentioned that you were a little worried about the next sort of side mission episode. This is very much a side mission episode, but
it was done well.
Yeah,
it was done well.
I think if you're a fan of episode 1, Phantom Menace, you're getting some feels out of this episode for sure. So listen, let's waste no time. Let's get to this plot. Let's waste no time. Let's get to this plot nice and fast. The episode kicks off back at Sid's place, where Wrecker and Omega are enjoying a game of Dejarik. Sid tells Wrecker, Tech, and Omega to come to Safatoma as security for her as she's set to settle a debate with a gang leader by betting on a local death race called Riot Racing. She introduces them to Teo, who's a droid who boasts just how incredible he is at riot racing. Teo is racing a modified 12 series speeder, and then Malegi is a gang leader who shows up trying to intimidate Sid and her crew, telling her that Teo will never beat his Nosorian champion. She makes a side bet on the race, where the following morning we see Jet Venom and his paid cohort put Teo in what they call a venom crunch, causing him to take a tumble and completely fall apart. So we'll talk about the riot races, but let's start off. Ben Schwartz coming in as Teo. He's always got to go fast, this guy. What's up with him and going fast?
I don't know. I was getting mad Dewey Duck vibes from this whole performance of how cocky he was, and I love it. I mean, Ben Schwartz is so good as, like, his voice is, and being cocky. Anything he is, like you said, so cocky and full of himself, and it just works so good. And again, another droid with a fantastic voice actor. Give me more droids in Star Wars, because apparently they get great comedians to fill out these roles. It's awesome.
Oh, it's perfect. I also love, like you're saying, Ben Schwartz plays these fantastically oh my God, my brain just stopped working. Ben Schwartz always plays these fantastically confident and cocky characters. And, you know, it was very reminiscent of his time on Parks and Rec with his sister. So the moment Teo came on screen, I did another ear thing. I was like, oh, I know that voice. Why do I know that voice so well? Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Well, I just love how cocky he is. I love that, you know, the way that has such a douchey attitude. But yeah, like for me, it was instantly, I was like, oh, Ben Schwartz, okay. And then I loved how his head would like swivel back and forth whenever he would like, somebody would say something like to him and he would like try to correct them by flipping his head backwards. And I love that even though he could flip his head forward and backwards, he still never saw what was coming to him as he gets absolutely decimated, gets wrecked in this episode. But no, I thought he was great. I love hearing the roaring of the speeders. As soon as we got to like onto the planet and we're starting to walk towards the racing pit, I was like, oh, pod racing?
That's
pod racing,
here
we go. This was such a cheap play at prequel trilogy fans, but I do not care. Like it was so welcome. It was so awesome. I want to just call attention to something that was added to the Star Wars canon here, and I think it's really, really important that I do this, because at the beginning of the episode, we learn that Hunter and Echo aren't in this episode because they're transporting for Sid 50 cases of Nerf nuggets. Okay, so what are Nerf nuggets, right? We know that Nerf herders are people who herd Nerfs, which are like cows in Star Wars. So I'd have to imagine they're like, would you think they're steak nuggets or something like that?
That's what I was picturing. Some sort of meat, ground meat prepared product type thing. I don't know.
That's an interesting thought, because with the word nugget, my brain went to, well, people use manure in gardens.
Oh, you think it's like a poop thing? Oh, shoot. See, that totally ruins my thought of like, I was going to tell Galaxy's Edge, get on these Nerf nuggets.
Oh,
right?
don't
Get these into the restaurants. Now I don't know about that anymore, because at first I thought they sounded delicious, but now you're changing my mind here, Megan.
We just need a classification. We just need to know exactly what they mean.
Please, get the story group on this. We need to know, what is it, food or is it poop? Is it one or the other? Is it one that becomes the other? Let's figure this out. But yes, okay, Nerf nuggets. I think we've cleared that up. Let's keep going here. Malegi shows up with his crew to collect the debt from the bet, and Sid asks for more time to get him his payment. Omega suggests to Malegi that they do one last race, and if he wins, they'll pay him double. But if Sid wins, they leave debt free. After some convincing, Malegi keeps Sid as collateral and agrees to race the next day. Tech operates on Teo, rebuilding him, while Wrecker tells Tech they should just use their military tactics to take out Malegi and rescue Sid. Tech reminds him that Malegi's got too many connections to risk any fallout from this mission. Malegi and Sid have a conversation where he reminds her that sooner or later, the outcast that she's been hanging out with will get to know the real Sid. So before we keep going here, what did you think of Malegi, and what do you think he means by the real Sid?
That's something that I'm so intrigued by, and is actually like a huge point in my notes that I underlined, was like, please, more about Sid's past. I would love to know everything that she's been through to get to the point that she's at now, where she's working with people that she knows wants to do good, but she's obviously come from a pretty tragic and, I don't know, backhanded past. So I really hope that they take this season to develop her character and, go behind the scenes. Omega sort of has a soft spot with Sid, I think. So I have a feeling that she'll be the one that brings that out of her.
Interesting.
Well, I just gotta say, I love the fact that Ernie Hudson is the voice of Malegi. I mean,
let's go.
Hearing, as soon as he started talking, I recognize this voice as well. So we got two big actors in this one, and I was loving that. But yeah, I also think that Sid's backstory just sets up a wicked scoundrel story in Star Wars, where you can figure out how someone who was in that seedy underworld and kind of switches over to do good and help out the rebellion, because we've seen it before, and it's a continuing theme is that help will come from the most unlikely places, and just exploring that past can lead to some cool things, I think.
Well, it was cool to get her full name, Sidderin Scaleback, I think I love Rhea Perlman, but I will say I think Sid, she's using the bad batch more than anything, and I don't know if she kind of just seems like she's looking out for herself a lot, unfortunately. And I would hope that would be really cool if we could see a change in her demeanor or what have you. But yeah, dude, Milegi as Ernie Hudson as Milegi, I thought was fantastic. And it's cool to see the Dalwooten species again after seeing one in Force Awakens. He's that like big guy in Force Awakens that we see. It's not the same guy, but I thought it's cool how they're retroactively placing these newer Star Wars species into different sections of the canon. Yeah. And so, we saw that in Andor as well with some of the species from Episode 8 partying it up at Mon Mothma's apartment, I guess it was. But it was, it's cool how they're sort of, these animated shows, they give them the opportunity to say, cool, let's just pull in this newer species and bring them in here so that it makes more sense that they're not just in this one part of the galaxy in the later episodes of Star Wars. So, yeah, dude, I think, really good job with Milegi. I thought he was really intimidating. He's a perfect, gang leader.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I think there's also a couple moments that happen within this sort of part of the show that really had me cackling.
Go for it.
One specific moment is when they're racing and a guy gets shot, collateral damage. The speeder goes by, gets shot in the chest. Everyone sort of turns around and looks at him. He dies, and they all just go back to what they were doing.
And the announcer's just we want to be have our viewers be informed that this is not on us. You know the dangers. It's so crazy.
Speaking of death and destruction.
I think a lot of people probably have died in that.
Sign some waivers before you go in there.
At least. Riot racing seems far more dangerous than pod racing. The viewers alone. I mean, anything goes. It seems with these buzzsaws and claws.
Oh, and they got weapons and stuff. It was. What's that game with the clown in it again that people played on PlayStation? Do you remember? Oh, what is it called?
Sweet Tooth. What was it? That's the name of the clown. I never played as him because I hate clowns. What's the name?
I accidentally typed in Sweet Tooth.
Turth?
I searched Sweet Tooth. It just gives me the Netflix series. Listen, writers, if you want to, or listeners, if you want to write in, and writers, if you're a writer who wants to write in, let us know the name of that video game with the clown where they shoot people in their cars. Let's keep going here. While arguing with Tech as to why he's studying the racetrack, Teo is maliciously struck by a racer, seemingly forcing Sid to forfeit the race. That is until Tech takes on the challenge. After a harrowing race where Tech survives all the cheating attempts by Milegi's racers, he takes on the left tunnel and strategically drops his weapons to go fast enough. He wins the race, and they bring Sid home as she says she'll make it up to him with seemingly no consequences. Milegi warns them to watch their backs, telling them that their loyalty is admirable, but with Sid, it doesn't always go both ways. So what do you think of the race? What did you think of Tech's big win? And do you think that Sid is going to go against them after they've basically, I think at least more than once, saved her life in this episode?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting to see her sort of actually feel thankful for a second there, the way she stutters and is kind of astounded that they actually saved her from this situation. I also love the discussion between Teo and Tech in regards to studying the track and studying the other racers, and the irony of hearing a droid say it's not about calculations, it's about a feeling. I love
what are you
that
feeling,
part.
Droid?
I also just like the fact that most of the racers are droids. It's so deadly that they're we'll program something to race for us. If something happens, we'll just rebuild him.
It's so good. And I love that the droids, some of them were protocol droids. Some of them were, there's a callback to... Attack of the Clones, right? Where we see one where it's a battle droid head on a protocol droid's body. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it kind of makes sense that would be the case, Darcy, like you're saying, because these droids are probably just getting ripped to shreds every week and then just getting put back together.
Whatever parts are salvageable. that makes a new
so
droid.
It really is more dangerous to be a viewer of these races than it is to be a driver, because most drivers could just be rebuilt.
Absolutely. I love Wrecker's line in this when Tech is racing, and he's like, "Tech, you gotta be in front to win," and it's like he genuinely thought that Tech didn't understand how a race would work. I love Wrecker so much, and that line just got me so it's just amazing. And then Tech was awesome in this episode, right? Like
so good.
The way he uses tactics and knowledge of physics to win was great, and also like it shows. I don't, when I think of bravery in the Bad Batch, they're all brave, but I don't think Tech is at the forefront of the thought of bravery, right? You probably think more Hunter, more Wrecker, if anything, in terms of bravery. I mean, Wrecker's more stupidity, but with Hunter, he's definitely at the forefront of bravery. But I think seeing, Tech, he's the smartest character, and he's asking why people don't take the left tunnel instead of just being afraid of it because he's told to. And I think that was a really cool thing with his character, and I think that kind of shines between him and, again, Omega kind of learning from him.
I think it's really cool that like he is clearly more science-based, and once he has all these facts, that's when he's sure enough to step into the role of racer, and like that's why he's so confident and takes that left path, is because he trusts in his calculations that he's making on the fly in this crazy race. So yeah, again, really cool episode to showcase Tech's talents and how he is, like you said, brave and has the courage to do what needs to be done to save people he maybe doesn't care about, but he needs to save because he's indebted to them for some reason. So it's really cool.
So good.
I really love that this episode took the time to highlight Tech's abilities and his strengths, and I hope that future episodes will do that with more members of the Bad Batch. And I hope we get an episode where we can kind of see Wrecker highlighted and why his physical strength isn't his only strength. And I hope that we also get an episode where we can see Echo and his good heart that he still has from being a clone previously. And yes, he may be more machine now than man, but get to see the way his human brain has altered the way he uses the technology that's a part of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's kind of the best part about these episodes where we do split up the Bad Batch, right? Where we kind of, in a strange way, it almost seems like having them all in a room doesn't necessarily allow a particular one of them to shine. So the moment that we sort of split them up, that's where we can really get down into their psyche and understand a little bit more about them. And I think even more so when we just get two of them together, I think is where, we can see them having a conversation together, and they go a little bit deeper into their characters. So yeah, I think absolutely more character development this season. And I think that's one of the things that we even talked about at the end of season 1, was that we wanted more episodes with them. Kind of, if they're going to do this adventure of the week style thing, they don't all need to be together. Let's kind of mix it up a little bit. Let's give a different dynamic to what we're seeing on screen. So I definitely got that for sure.
And we talked about that last week too, how different pairings will give us different stories. Or I guess this was 2 weeks ago. We get a little bit of Wrecker and Tech this week, but then what happens if you put Hunter and Echo together, and we see their sort of bond that has been made post Clone Wars, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and having Omega be this sort of blank slate soundboard, because she's learning from all of them, so she's intaking different parts from each guy, and being the straight man, quote unquote, of each episode.
Yeah, and I do want to shout out the announcer for the riot races. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but just when he's saying all the names, and then he just gets to Tech and he's like, Tech. That's it? That's all it is? Because all these other racers have these crazy names. It wasn't Greg Proops. I was really hoping that Greg Proops was going to be the voice again, but it wasn't. But still, definitely gave me the vibes of Greg Proops, announcer from Phantom Menace. So good. Listen, we got through this episode so fast.
Wow.
I mean, I think Teo would be really, really proud of us for this. So let's get to our kind of our overall thoughts and final score for this episode, which we're going to be rating on a scale of 1 to 5 Teo body parts. So, Megan, I'm actually going to get you to kick us off this week.
Absolutely. I said it last week. I couldn't see myself giving lower than a 5. However,
it happened.
It happened earlier than I thought. But like you said, it's these sort of episode of the week, journey of the week, adventure of the week situation where it's not going to be all about furthering the story. It's more about highlighting characters and giving them a little bit of character development, giving us a little bit of nostalgic kick with these almost pod racer type thing, which was super fun to watch. I think just from last week being such an impactful episode and so really intense, this one brought us back to the light again a little bit. It was more fun. The droid characters were super fun. Definitely love Teo. I would like to see a Funko of that head flipping back and forth.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I will buy that.
Wow, yeah.
So with all that said, it just wasn't something that impacted me all that much, but it was still a super fun episode. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 Teo body parts. He's not completely finished built, but
there you go.
He's almost there.
There you go. Darcy, what about yourself?
A lot of similar thoughts to Meg there. Like I said last time, I was worried about these filler episodes, but if this is going to be the filler episodes we get for this season, I'm going to enjoy it a lot more because there was more, again, heart to it. We got those character moments that we're looking for, as well as some, great new characters in Teo and even the I can't forget his name already, but the crime lord that's intimidating Sid, Malegi. Yes, just the fact that we got some of these cool characters and they're teasing towards this dark past of Sid's that might be a bigger plot point later on in the season. Who knows? It has me excited for more filler content from this season because it seems like they know how to handle the characters a bit more this time and let them tell the story of their relationship and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but again, was a bit bummed that it was so soon after that last episode that we got an adventure of the week. So this one will be getting a 4 out of 5 Teo parts for me as well.
And 4 out of 5, I think we forget, is a pretty good score.
Yeah. I'm not knocking this episode at all. It's just, it wasn't it wasn't a good follow-up to the last week's really dark tone episode.
Yeah, it definitely feels like you're falling off a cliff like that guy in episode 2. This episode was a ton of fun, I think is the biggest word that I could use. Fast and fun. The guest voice actors, the pod racing feel, really, really worked for me. And like you were saying, Darcy, definitely a side mission, but I think the story itself and the way that it played to each of the characters' strengths, with Omega always pushing to do what's right, Wrecker just being the big, beautiful muscle dummy that he is, and then Tech just, using his brains to beat out the Bronze, I think was really, really well done. I was absolutely at a 3.5 out of 5, but thinking about it, and I think this is probably not even you batches this week. I think it's just the Phantom Menace bias that's coming from me. I think, Phantom Menace gets so harped on, and it got so much crap from original trilogy fans when it first came out, and that was one of the first Star Wars movies I saw in theaters, was The Phantom Menace, and just that's my, prequel trilogy is my Star Wars, love it or leave it. And so I think for me, I'm actually going to bump that up to a 4 out of 5 Teo body parts for this episode. It definitely, here's the thing, it was a 3.5. That was a 4 for me, if that makes sense. I think for anyone else listening who's I don't care about pod racing, you're probably still at a 3 or 3.5.
We're 3 for 3 now in terms of your score going up 0.5 after the conversation. So I'm just wondering if that trend will continue throughout the season.
It might. If you batches keep just reminding me how good this show is, it very well might. But that is it for this week's Watch Club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, if you haven't already. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts or predictions on the shows we cover in Watch Club, well, listen, you don't have to go through the left tunnel and win back the freedom of a lady you don't really trust. Instead, Megan, can you let our lovely batches know where they can reach us by holo message?
They can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Very nice. Very fast. You got to go fast when you say
fast.
that stuff. Fast.
For
yes.
Teo.
For Teo. Rest in peace. Or pieces, I guess. I don't know. Did they put him back together in the end? I can't rember.
I'm sure they could. He was still
sure
kicking when they picked up his corpse there.
Yeah.
Somebody did. Somebody
I
put him back together.
Nothing.
It's so good. All right. Keep in mind, we also have some interviews out now. Our most recent interview, I think, maybe, it might not be, who knows, is our interview with the Bad Batch themselves, D. Bradley Baker, along with the writer and director for this series. So again, subscribe here, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Geekcentric, so you can keep up with all the great stuff that we're doing and all the great stuff that we have coming at you in the year that is 2023. Darcy, Megan, thank you so much for joining me for this Watch Club. And as we say,
Good soldiers follow orders.